Hey guys, I'm Anna Woodward with Arches Today, and today I'm here with Alex Galvin and Isa Britton, who are both sophomores. Both of them were e-learning last semester, and they have both come back in January. And they're here today to talk about how the switch has been from online to in-person. Thanks for coming today, guys.
Welcome.
So let's just jump right into these questions. For starters, what made each of you choose e-learning last semester, and what made you choose to come back? Isa, do you want to start?
Sure. I chose e-learning at first because of the coronavirus. Obviously, I have a high risk person in my family. I didn't want to put them at risk of getting it at all. And then I came back because I wanted to have better access to teachers and resources that I could get to further my learning.
For me personally, I never wanted to go e-learning in the first place. I'm a very social person around school and out of school, but with coronavirus and everything going on, my parents thought it was best to keep me at home and out of harm's way and risk's way. So that was my ulterior motive for staying at home. Coming back in January was something that I had really pushed for because I don't work the best online. I much prefer a in-person, face-to-face conversation and education experience. So being able to come back in January really helped me open up more and come back to that social atmosphere at school.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I like how you both talk about the accessibility of teachers and like the whole socialization process of school. Because personally, I also did e-learning and I came back for the same reasons. So for that first semester, did you ever get to socialize and come back to school, let's say for a sports team? And how was it learning online? You talked about the teachers and kind of it being a little different.
Yeah, so first semester I had golf actually. So I would go to golf after school. I'd get to see a few of my friends. So that was really nice. And they would talk to me about stuff that happened while at school. So I got to get my insight from through them. And the online process, the learning process online, it was pretty good. It was very different from in person because of the technical difficulties a lot of teachers would have with the online and the Zoom, but it was pretty good. I feel like though, Alex said, I learned better while in person, getting a face to face learning experience. Yeah.
So for me, I'm on the soccer team at Robinson and getting to come back, especially in the basically start of second quarter for the winter sports, coming back and having that social atmosphere with the team and finally being back with these people who I've known before was my first experience back at Robinson. And it was really great. I hadn't been back since March, and being able to come and be a part of that amazing team and basically just have social time again was really nice to me. Learning though, like it's just a lot of connection problems. None of us are really used to completely transforming into this online atmosphere, so we all kind of had to learn as it went. Wi-Fi isn't the best, as a lot of people know here, so it definitely provided a lot of connection issues with Zoom and things like that. Canvas was new after switching to Edgeby, and we all had to learn how to shift from that completely. And there's now so many options, and we're still all trying to learn basically how to balance it all.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, especially with the balance. I think it's definitely weird because, e-learning basically changed your whole schedule.
Mhm.
And going into the next question, when you come back, you kind of shift into this whole new schedule. So, how has your first few weeks been? Has have you had any schedule changes, new classes, or anything that really like disrupted your previous schedule?
Yeah, I did not personally have any schedule changes. I know that at the very beginning of second quarter, I know there was a lot of schedule changes there, and I had a lot there. So I had schedule changes while online, but not while coming back. But it was the first few weeks were really nice. I was concerned going into the school that it was going to be very difficult to adjust and everything, but the teachers and my peers really helped me with that switch, and it's been really nice. So
For me, my first week back was amazing. I don't have any schedule changes. I'm very fortunate to have never had a single schedule change. But the main difference for me was I take culinary as my elective, and that's something very hard to learn and be able to participate through a Zoom meeting. So getting to come back to that elective and actually be able to do stuff was really fun for me. I got to see all my friends that I hadn't seen in months, and that was just really nice to be able to have the social part. Transitioning though, I didn't know where any of my classes were except for maybe two. So that first A day and B day was kind of stressful because I had to figure out, where I'm going. I don't want to set a bad impression with my teachers if I'm late. So I really need to kind of figure out where I'm going before I actually get there. So what really helped me was in my JA, I just simply looked at the map and I tried to figure out where all these classrooms are. And that really helped me with my transition. That way I knew I wasn't getting lost or anything.
Yeah, and so you're both sophomores. So when we all went into quarantine and school went online, you were freshmen. So obviously it's a big jump from freshman to sophomore. Do you feel like you're a sophomore? Like, how is it starting as a freshman and then coming back almost a year later? And you're kind of just in this completely different, like, characteristic, if you
Yeah.
may.
Yeah, it's a lot different. When we left, I know that as a freshman, I'd had two full JAs, and now that I'm back, I have an elective now, AP Macro and Microeconomics. I think the one main difference is that I have less time to work on assignments and get things done during school. So I think there's a big time management portion that's different. And also, I don't really feel like a sophomore because of the missed experiences I had for going back into sophomore year. But I mean, now I'm just adjusting to it, and now it's kind of really settling in.
I definitely feel like I'm a sophomore and not a freshman anymore. I personally feel like I've matured in a lot of ways since I did when I was a freshman in March. I don't know how much that has to do with e-learning or how much of it COVID really taught me to not only depend on yourself, but don't take your friendships and things for granted. So being able to develop closer friendships because I couldn't be with them physically really helped me mature and become a more adult like person. So I would say I definitely do feel like a sophomore and I don't feel like a young freshman anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, I really like how you both worded that. I think that it's definitely very weird because I was a junior and now I'm a senior. So weird transition,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
think e-learning definitely did play a role in kind of just like helping you with time management, like you guys said. And you mentioned that you missed out on some opportunities of your freshman year. Is there anything that you didn't realize that you missed when you came back to school, or even that you didn't expect to miss? Like, I remember in homeroom, we would just go walk around and I would talk to my friends, and maybe we'd go to the vending machine. And that's such a small thing that I feel like you don't really miss until, like Alex said, you realize how easily you take things for granted. So, did
Mhm.
you have any realizations like that?
Yeah, I actually did. I know in freshman year, I got to bond with a lot of my teachers while being in school. You see them every other day. You see them for a full hour and a half. So I did not expect missing to bond with my teachers. I know with online, like they didn't really know me. I didn't really know them. But now that I'm in school, I have gotten to know my teachers a lot more, and class is more fun because I can relate to them, and their teaching methods and now help me more that I'm in person.
I would say if I was looking at this approach from earlier, so maybe like April or May, I never would have expected that I would miss homecoming or that homecoming would not happen at the same time that it normally does. I would have thought like, hey, it's just going to be a little thing. It'll be gone in July. But, we've been almost a full year with quarantine basically. And I never realized how many things I missed, school and not school related. I had tons of trips and stuff over the summer that all had to get canceled. All those hanging out with my friends and things like that couldn't happen. Sophomore events for me couldn't happen. And I really just never understood how much I need to appreciate those moments. And not everybody gets them. And at this rate, not anyone is going to get them. And they're all being canceled. So that for me is really making me feel like I need to take them all for, or not all for granted. And I need to appreciate every small moment that I have with people and with events because you never know, something like this could happen again. And then we would lose it all again.
Yeah, it's definitely made you reflect on a lot of things. I feel like, especially in e-learning too, you have so much free time that it's much more easier to miss things like this. And I guess that leads to the biggest question, and how does in-person learning compare to e-learning? I know that you guys have only been back for a week or so, but I know personally for me and my friends that came back that it is definitely an adjustment at first. So how's it been for you? Is it easier, harder, and for what reasons?
I definitely say that in-person learning is a lot easier than e-learning. I remember after a long day of being on the laptop and learning, going through school, I'd spend another 2 or 3 hours just watching videos on the lessons we learned in class because I couldn't understand them. For me personally, I'm a hands-on learner or like a example learner, and with e-learning you aren't allowed really able to get that because of the audio or like the Zoom camera not allowing you to see everything. So e-learning has been a lot. I mean, e-learning, yeah, has been a lot harder than in-person learning because of the teaching ways that you don't get in e-learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same way. Back in person was so much easier for me because I connect more on a personal level than over a computer screen. I mean, unfortunately, I'm quarantined now, so I don't really get that again. But especially when I came back, I remember walking into my French class, and I had taken French the entire time since March online, and I was a completely different person than what I was in class. I was very silent. I didn't participate, but I came back and I started talking more and I started getting involved more and made me really feel like I'm back. I also had chemistry my first semester, and it was kind of a mess when we did labs because how am I supposed to do a lab? It's not like I have a bunch of chemical compounds just sitting in my kitchen. So all that process that Mr. Atkins tried to put us through, which props to him, he did the best he could, but it still was not easy. So now coming back face to face and being able to actually do all that definitely makes it a lot easier.
I agree. I feel like you guys both said with the teachers, it's very difficult because you know that everyone's trying their best, but at the same time, like with e-learning, there's really not that much you can do, which is sad, but I'm glad you guys are both back. I'm glad that it's been a little bit easier for you. And I just wanted to thank you for coming on and talking with me. I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.